Welcome back to Loserville, folks. Philip Kingston, um, the great David De La Fuente. Crew show today. Although, please remind me, David, I talked to Zarin Gracie this week, and uncharacteristically for him, he's got some hot takes he wants to share with the show. So
Okay,
I need to send him
that
some
sounds
dates
perfect.
so
Yeah.
we can get him on. There's kind of a there's an interesting dynamic developing at City Hall in the wake of Pepper Square. Remember
hmm
that big
Yeah.
deal?
I think I
Um,
heard of it, maybe briefly. It wasn't that big of a deal.
you didn't hear much about it. You weren't paying attention.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It is it is in a part of the city that barely affects yours.
Yeah.
So there is
No, I
that.
mean,
But
yeah. No, I mean, it was a
um,
huge deal. Yeah.
well, I mean, and it's extremely interesting because it is a nascent, it could be a nascent political movement.
Yeah.
It was clearly backed by the Monty Bennett people. It's
Yeah.
clearly a Republican ruse.
Yeah.
And it's just like the most rank NIMBYism you've ever seen. Just like awful, awful, awful. And it appears to be organized around the idea of just being as big a dick as you can be. Like just absolutely being an asshole. And I
Yeah.
think that's part of what Zarin would like to address. I was very surprised. We had a meeting about a freaking housing development that has very little to do with any sort of
Yeah.
bad behavior. So I don't know. I was just like doing my job.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, I'd love to talk to him. He's a smart guy.
He's fun too.
Yeah.
When I was in office, he was managing the city's MWBE
hmm
program, Minority Women Business Enterprise.
Okay.
I don't know how that becomes an initialization there, but everybody says MWBE and it doesn't make any freaking sense whatsoever. Um, Uh, anyway, we got really excited about whatever we were talking about last week, and we missed a bunch of shit that's going on. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, do
it's
you want to
so
start constitutional amendments, remind people to go
sure,
vote?
sure.
Okay.
It's so odd how the calendar really affects like what's happening at City Hall. It
Yeah.
doesn't really affect it because the staff is working year round and they're
Yeah.
always doing something that would be interesting to people, but when the council members aren't right there to tell people about it, it goes under the radar because that, in fact, always benefits the staff is to be
Yeah.
less visible.
Yeah. That's funny.
And I'm a fan of Kim and I'm a fan of many of our staff.
Yeah.
But it is true in general that if you can figure out an outcome, if there's an unclear outcome, and the outcome could be more public or less public, or more work for them or less work for them, it's really easy to figure out where it's going to wind up if they
Yeah.
get
And
if they get to make the
to be
decision.
fair, I think that's how most people would like to do their work.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, let me pull up my handy list.
I have you voted yet?
I have not. I've been
Yeah.
I'm normally a first day guy.
Yeah. I
And
yeah.
have
I'm
you?
going, no, not yet. I'm going early. Though actually what's interesting to me, and I'm not surprised because like I'm the person that like pulled all this like back data and it's been like fairly predictive. Um Dallas County is set. So we're recording this on Thursday, October 30th. So there's like 2 more days of early voting. You compare this to like the May election, and in May in Dallas County, like most cities were doing like city council elections and a lot of ISDs were doing trustee elections.
Sure.
Versus right now, in most of the county, you basically got this on your ballot. A few cities, a few ISDs are doing some elections, but it's pretty few and far between right now.
My ballot
Uh,
has nothing else.
yeah, same with me. Basically, if you live in the city of Dallas, which is about 47-48% of the county's population, this is the only thing on your ballot. And the November early voting is set to outpace the May early voting by quite a bit. And do you want to
Ladies
know
and
why?
gentlemen, the dog has found his bone.
Yeah, do you want to know why?
Yes.
Because in May early voting, there were 8 days of early voting, and in November early voting, there were 12. That is literally the reason why. It's it like in things like below the presidential level where people care, but they don't care like a lot. It's the literal like having more days and more hours to vote is what's increasing voter turnout.
And correct me if you think I'm wrong. The shortened early vote period in the May election is purely cost saving.
Yes and no. It's actually it because the state sets it. Like the counties and the cities and the
Oh,
ISDs
it's because
don't.
it's a Saturday election.
Exactly. So like
And they set
that
the date on which you can start early voting.
is Monday.
Oh,
Yeah. So
goddamn.
that's at least in the state of Texas, that's why Saturday elections are bad.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
When in the
And
rest of the world, they're very good. Do you know in
yeah.
Mexico, everything shuts down
Yeah.
on election day?
Yeah.
You can't sell alcohol.
Yeah.
I one
No, and
time
that's
I one time smuggled alcohol into Mexico so we would have booze for
on
election
election
day.
day. That's funny. Though actually, I will say in the United States of America, because of how federal, state, city, other government holidays work, I actually don't think election day should be a holiday here because we don't have that level of control like a Mexico does. And
So what would happen? I'm not following.
so in the United States, if they declared election day a federal holiday, all federal federal employees and generally federal contractors would have the day off, but the federal government cannot force private and nonprofit businesses to give the day off. We're just
Oh
very
yeah,
used
I'm
to
a
it.
lawyer. I've never gotten any of those days off.
Yeah, well, some of them you probably do. You probably get like
Well, I
Christmas, New
can't go to
Year's.
court.
Yeah, you can't go to court. Yeah, because it's like a city or county holiday. But the feds can't give anyone else the day off. And then the other thing is, you know how most federal holidays, or at least half of them, are like on Mondays now?
Hmm.
That was lobbied by a lot of groups, including travel industry group, because they know that when you create like 3 day or 4 day weekends, people are more likely to travel um, and all that kind of stuff. So in my mind, creating a new federal holiday by which a lot of public employees and a lot of white collar employees get a like 3-ish day weekend. Maybe if they take a vacation that day, they'll get like a 4 day weekend and encourage them to leave their domicile. I don't know how that's going to help voter turnout. Um, yeah, so I'm in general like I'm just a bigger fan of like increase like expanding early voting, expanding mail voting. And actually a
I think
quirk in
females should
this,
vote too.
yeah, that's fair. But that's a good one. A quirk in this, though, is that November is set to have more early voting in person than May, but May is set to eclipse November in mail voting. And I think the reason why is because people actually cared more about who their city council member is than they care about these constitutional amendments. So when you make everything else equal, like mail voting is all equal, that means that there will be more May mail votes, like snail mail votes than November snail mail votes.
I wonder if COVID also increased participation in mail voting because I definitely went to
Not
mail
long term. It's
ballot.
it's it's
No?
it's no, because Texas is so restrictive. You have to be one of four categories, the biggest one being a senior citizen.
Okay, word of the wise. There's no enforcement mechanism.
That's true. Yeah.
Ken Paxton tried to create
Yeah.
an enforcement mechanism, and the Supreme Court told him, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because the Supreme Court of Texas, unlike most Republicans in the state, openly hate Ken Paxton.
Yeah. Well, he wastes their time a lot.
Although this week I heard Karl Rove hates him too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, have you decided how you're voting on the 17 of them?
I have.
Okay.
You want to crank up? Well,
Sure.
I always have the general idea that the Texas Constitution is trash. It was
Yeah.
trash in 1876 when it was first adopted.
Yeah.
It has only become more trash since then, and
But it was designed to be trash.
it was designed to be trash for sure.
Yeah.
And the idea of amending it every 2 years,
Yeah.
the document is unwieldy at this
Yeah.
point. And
It is.
it has stuff in there that no longer exists. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, we have rules
It's
about things
still
that aren't
it's
there.
it's still does it still ban gay marriage?
It does.
Yeah.
And separate from the Constitution, state law that I think it's the Health and Safety Code also bans gay marriage. Like we've
Yeah.
got two bans.
Yeah. So not only is it bigoted, it's also
This is how I
duplicative
got
and
this is how
yeah.
I got pilled. I never can remember which color pill it is that I
Mhm.
took on gay rights.
Yeah.
Because they were trying, it's like the mid 2000s, they were trying to
was
push the constitutional
it was
amendment
'05, I
to
think.
ban gay marriage.
Yeah.
And my buddy Mike Northrup, who lives down
Hmm.
the street from me, was like, "Would you please put this sign in your yard,
Yeah.
against that proposition?" I don't remember what the proposition number was. And I gave like $100 to the group that was trying to stop the constitutional amendment. Of course, it passed like
Yeah.
65%.
Yeah. And it basically passed everywhere other than like Austin, probably like Marfa, and then here in North Texas, like Oaklawn and North Oak Cliff voted against it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's about it. Like truly.
But that's literally the first time I really like had to confront the idea of gay people have rights.
Yeah,
I'm embarrassed that it took me that long, but it
that's
did.
fair. Yeah.
So anyway, my general proposition is always that the constitutional amendments, even if you don't read them, they're probably trash and you
Yeah.
should default vote against them. And unfortunately, the
Yeah.
legislature knows that the average voter is going to default vote for them.
Yes. Like last time all but one passed.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the
Um,
one that didn't pass is hilarious.
yeah. It was written to like allow judges to serve pat like
It
there's
was
there's
written
an
to
age
allow the
limit.
Chief Justice
Yeah.
of the Supreme Court, Nathan Hecht,
Yeah.
to continue to hold office after his 75th birthday,
Yeah.
which let me tell you, Nathan Hecht, during the period when he was 50 to 7, no, let's say 50 to 60,
Yeah.
was a pretty damn good judge.
Hmm.
If fairly conservative, a pretty damn
Yeah.
good judge. And the period of time after he became the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, he so befouled himself and that office that his legacy is going to be basically the destruction of the Texas Supreme Court. So it was so stupid and nobody
Yeah.
bought it because people are tired of the gerontology that we have ruling our country, and
Yeah.
and it's unfair. I mean, it's obviously the best politician in the country is Bernie Sanders, who's
Hmm.
79,
Yeah.
but on a general basis, if you're just like grading in a group, the people who are older than 70 fucking suck.
Yeah. Uh, that's funny.
All
Okay.
right,
But
prop
so
prop
do you
one.
know how many total are you there's 17 total. How many total are you voting no on?
Let me see. Hang on. No, 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 no,
And I
no.
put I put them in groupings ahead of time to make it easier to discuss.
Well, you're smarter than I am.
Okay.
No,
I'm actually splitting about
no,
50-50 personally.
no, 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 no. Uh, that's 13.
You're voting on
I'm voting
13?
for four of them
Voting okay for four. I'm voting for like seven, maybe eight
until we have this discussion.
until we have this discussion. Okay, so
And maybe I'll vote for more than four.
okay, fair. Okay, so okay, in my buckets, I
We're
have
about growing
the
and learning in Loserville.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so in the first bucket, it's like the bucket of things that I think are good, and it's ridiculous that we have to have a constitutional amendment to do them. And that's props 1, 4, and 14. One is creating a dedicated fund to support the Texas State Technical College infrastructure and workforce training. 4 is allocating sales tax revenue to the Texas Water Fund to increase statewide water infrastructure needs. And 14 is establishing the Dementia Prevention and Research Institute of Texas to fund research on dementia, Alzheimer's, and related diseases. And before we go more into it, I do want to like say one thing, and I agree with you, Philip, that like Constitution sucks. We amend it too often. Most of these tend to be bad, but one huge caveat here is unlike most things that happen in the Texas state government, like take school vouchers, for instance, like the Republican majority can just do whatever they want. With constitutional amendments, they actually do have to get Democrats to sign on to it. Now, sometimes it's like truly bipartisan, like basically everyone, but like the far right cranks.
Dementia research.
Yeah, dimension like like 4 and 14 are good examples that 100% of the Democratic caucus voted for it. And with number one, the one that was about like pro teachers, it was 98%. And the one that voted no was Harold Dutton out of Houston, who is like infamous for like hating schools, even though he's a Democrat. So like these are like pretty non-controversial. And some of these things got sent to a ballot with like a minority of Democrats, but every single one technically had to have like a dozen plus Democrats agree to it.
This is a good point. And the other point that is similar to that is that at least they're asking us,
It's fair.
because a lot
Yeah.
of shit gets passed that you, as a professional pollster,
Yeah.
a lot of shit gets passed on the Republican platform that has less than 30% support
Yeah.
among the populace. And it's
Yeah.
that's really wild. And the fact that the people we continue to elect are so disconnected from what people actually want and think
Yeah.
is a serious indictment of democracy in general, but specifically the type of democracy we practice in Texas.
Yeah. And actually, I mean, going back to that, I mean, Democrats actually tried to offer a deal to Republicans during school vouchers of why don't we put school vouchers in the Constitution? Like, let's enshrine it in the Constitution. And Republicans did not take that deal because they were afraid to send it to voters.
Well, I mean, afraid is one way to put it. It's a certainty it would
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. So I mean, were 1, 4, and 14 on your list?
Yes, and I miscounted because I hadn't counted four, and four is actually very good.
Yeah. So basically, like props 1, 4, and 14 is do you like higher education? Do you like water? And do you dislike dementia and Alzheimer's? And I think the answer to that is no, or yes. Yes, yes, and I don't like, Alzheimer's and dementia. So those are three that are pretty easy to vote for.
I love the
Uh,
patients. I hate the disease.
yeah, that's fair.
No,
Uh,
and there is actually a counter argument on one and four.
yeah.
It's not a good one, but I've
Hmm.
seen it,
Yeah.
on the internet where there's the counter argument to everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Um, People are worried that TSTC is going to take money away from university education or from public schools, and everything that we fund,
Yeah.
you have to be like, well, we the thing that Texas has not done since the Democrats were in control is fund public schools adequately. It used to be a
Yeah.
foregone conclusion in the budget that we were going to fund 50% of the cost of public education.
Yeah.
And once the Republicans took over, they got it down as low as like 31% one session. I think we're back to like 34%, but we are
Wow. It's so low.
chronically underfunding public schools.
Yeah.
And so anytime you look at a funding resolution, you have to think, uh, is this going to take more money away from schools? But that's a separate issue. You can't
Yeah,
it's not a one for one trade-off. So
yeah.
I think that's
It's
dumb. And
yeah, and there.
on the water infrastructure funding, the thing that is happening in Texas is that for years we've depended on local control for water planning, um, which Dallas, pardon me, has done an amazing job of.
Yeah.
If you take the state demographer's most aggressive scenario for population growth in the places where Dallas Water Utilities provides the water, which is us and a bunch of suburbs,
Hmm.
and you project that out into the future, if Dallas never gets one more drop of supply,
Hmm.
we have enough water for the next 100 years.
Wow.
Like we're really, really good at that. It's one of the few good things you can say that the Citizens Council did.
Yeah.
Um, but most places are very bad at it, especially suburbs,
Hmm.
because those are, suburbs are a real estate scam, you know. They're only about how many subdivision lots can we sell this year.
Yeah.
And they never really think through infrastructure properly. And so
Hmm.
you wind up in situations where people are running out of water. And in
Yeah, it happens.
extremely red cities, you literally have places like Wichita Falls and Odessa
Yeah.
running the fuck out of water. So the counter argument on four, again, this is not a smart argument, but is an
Hmm.
argument, is that eventually one of these asshole places is going to be so out of water that the legislature is going to take over all of Texas water systems and have it be a statewide system, which is going to result in places like Dallas, who have adequately paid for and planned for water, paying more for fucking morons in Odessa.
But
Um,
we do that in all regards already.
yeah, we're already doing that. So it's
Yeah.
not a good argument, but
Yeah.
that's the counter argument. There is no
Yeah.
counter argument to 14, I don't think.
Well, I've heard one, and it's basically the like it, it's like, do you trust Governor Abbott to like actually hire the right people and appoint the right people? And of course not. But like,
You know,
I mean, what do you do? Do you just not institute this new, agency
and
and
eventually another
fund?
tree is going to fall on him, right?
I don't think so. But I mean, Father Time remains undefeated in general. Um, no, so the next bucket, and I'm voting for these in general, and I will say these are also the ones that literally 100% of the caucus, all the Democratic caucus voted for. And these are the bucket of things that increase the homestead tax exemption uh, for various people. So there's Prop 7 that does it for the surviving spouse of a veteran who dies of a service-connected disease. And then there's Prop 10 that does it for people that if their home is destroyed by a fire and they want to rebuild on that property, they get a temporary exemption during the construction of the new home. 11 is, expanding elderly disabled ones. Uh, 13 is the general one. So anyone with a homestead property would get their exemption increased from 100 to 140. So this is four homestead exemption increases. And you mentioned earlier, like basically like the defunding of public school, and like that does happen through like the expansion of the homestead exemptions. But at the same time, I I come at this from a philosophy of Texas should have an income tax. Like we have an extremely regressive form of taxation. Things like property taxes are extremely regressive and predatory on like the middle class and working class folks of the state. And I am generally fine with an expansion of the homestead ta property tax exemption that in places that want to operate responsibly, so like a Dallas County and its subdivisions, or at least some of the subdivisions, I would hope that what this does is it lessens the property tax burden on people in their homes and increases the burden on people with investment properties and commercial properties and things like that. And as we're dealing with the fact that again the state of Texas refuses to ever implement an income tax, I think that is generally a better way to do a property tax system in a state that wants to rely on property taxes for almost all of our taxation.
Correct. And the other thing that we do, which is really perverse, you could actually have a state funded on property taxes that was sort of more fair than Texas is. But
Yeah,
what we
some do.
absolutely refuse to do is force commercial property to pay its fair share.
Yeah.
We've made it illegal for the assessor collector, the various appraisal districts
Hmm.
to assess commercial property at its true market value.
Yep.
It's very interesting. The state law says it must be assessed at its fair market value, and then it sets three methods of valuing these properties, none of which result in the fair market value being
Yeah.
assessed. And almost all residential property is required kind of by
Hmm.
the ethical rules of realtors, licensed realtors in
Yep.
Texas, to be listed in the multiple listing services so that you can see what it actually transacted at. And also you can often see on property that is financed what it was financed at, because that'll be on the documents that are filed with the county. None of this is true of commercial property. And so you can't ever find out really what stuff is worth, which means you
Yep.
can't tax it properly. And that's the biggest way that we fuck ourselves over. But I am with you on this, except for the school ones. And I'm even being a Grinch about the elderly and disabled deal, because the bigger project of Republicans in the state
Yep.
and what these are aimed at, and I'm very sad that the Democratic caucus mostly supported these, is to starve public
100%. Yeah.
schools. And
Yeah.
and
So
you know
which ones are you voting for and which ones are you voting against? Of
homes destroyed by fire and veteran spouses. Also, those don't have any fiscal impact on the state. Those are so
Yeah,
small.
those are very small.
And they had I think there had been talk about doing the exemption solely for disabled people, because when you expand it to
Yeah.
elderly, that actually becomes the
That's a big
biggest
one.
one we're talking, not the biggest one, but the second biggest
Yeah,
one we're
second biggest
talking
one.
about.
Yeah.
And then the increased school tax exemption for homeowners, it's really a problem, because
It is.
if you're saying, well, Philip, you're increasing displacement, probably I am. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
That's not helpful, but I think it's worth making a statement about protecting school funding.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, like I think that there is a misconception, at least in parts of the city, not all, but like I take a North Oak Cliff, for example, which I think is a prime example of there are areas with, large Latino populations that are being displaced currently. And the number one cause of displacement, if you look at like the very clear data behind it, is basically like a working class Latino family feeling like they're being taxed too much, not getting enough, and then they know what they can sell their single family detached house for, and they sell it to, I mean, maybe a flipper, but like it's going to be inhabited by like a middle class college educated family, probably white, but not necessarily white. And it's not like developers coming in and like ransacking entire neighborhoods and building like luxury apartments. It's like one-to-one house transfers are the biggest cause of displacement in a lot of Dallas right now.
And look, I would not fight you on any part of that, and I'm
Yeah.
against all of that.
Yeah.
And so this is truly one of those things where reasonable minds, I will grant us reasonable mind status,
Can
can differ.
disagree. Yeah.
But I
I
mean,
mean,
just
also
let me
just
just ask you this.
selfishly, like I want a property tax decrease
Yeah, sure,
personally. Yeah. Yeah.
sure. But I mean, why are these about school taxes?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. And it's essentially like
If it
we're
was such a
I
big deal,
yeah.
how come the hospital district and the county and the city weren't included?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think a lot of these like we're deciding between like two options. Like I do view these as like binary choices because like it's essentially what the state of Texas and the Republican majority will give us options to do. And you're choosing between two options that both have pros and both have cons, you know?
Well, and in a real, I mean, there's a great South Park about that. You know,
Yeah.
every election is a race between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. Um, but you know in Texas we have a particularly bad set of choices, and so I'm not. I seriously am not going to be writing to the Democratic caucus about any of these. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not
There's
mad.
some really bad ones we're about to talk about. Like
Mhm.
these in my mind are like this if you're gonna vote for up to seven, these are like the best seven.
I 100% support that, even though I'm not voting for seven.
Yeah, that's fair. You're voting for five. Like five total.
Hmm.
Okay. And then I think I'm gonna skip a beat and go to like the worst ones next.
It is
Uh
funnier.
yeah, so the worst ones in my mind, there's the let's basically just give everything to wealthy assholes ones, which are props 2, 6, and 8. Again, some Democrats put these on the ballot, but like actually some of them were like minority of caucus. So 2 is constitutional amendments to prohibit a tax on like capital gains, family estate or trust. 6 is prohibiting laws that would allow taxation on securities or security transactions, and 8 is prohibiting laws that impose taxes on descendants, property, or the transfers of an estate.
How
Uh,
much money is Texas collecting from those three categories of taxes today, David?
I'm pretty sure it's literally zero.
We've
Uh,
never had these taxes.
yeah. So yeah, we're just enshrining the constitutional like prohibition of doing these things in the future. It's similar to like how we had a constitutional amendment a few years back that was atrocious, that was preventing the state from ever doing an income tax, even though we didn't do income tax at the time, and
Yes.
obviously voted against those. In my mind, these are like the three worst of the bunch. Um, it's just like
They're
for
ideologically the
yeah,
worst,
yeah,
and practically they're the most meaningless.
yeah. Yeah, terrible. Vote against 2, 6, and 8. Um, there's another bucket I have, which is the like we hate immigrants bucket, which is Props 16.
This one's actually ideologically just as poisonous, but
Yeah,
actually has much more of an effect.
yeah, that's fair. Uh, Props 16 and 17. 16 is amending the Constitution that persons who are not citizens of the United States cannot vote. And 17 is authorizing the legislature to give a property tax exemption for the construction of border infrastructure on the property of a county that's bordering Mexico. Um, 16, we already don't allow non-citizens to vote in elections. And
And
my
literally have
biggest,
no ability to challenge that. It's
yeah,
federally
yeah,
required.
yeah, it's
And
federally
by the way,
required.
everyone has been studying this because Ken Paxton created a task force and spent several million dollars looking for an instance, a
Yeah, couldn't find it.
singular instance
Yeah,
of a non-citizen voting. It never happens. It
yeah,
does not happen.
yeah. And so my biggest worry with 16 is with a lot of things like this, what it's going to do is make it harder for some actual United States citizens to vote because there could be, future laws down the pipeline that do things like even beyond like picture voter ID, but only certain
Or
IDs. They'll be
denaturalize
like,
people. I mean,
yeah,
they're really talking about that.
yeah, they're really talking about it. So like, I mean, just to be clear, like I actually do generally agree with the federal law that only citizens should be allowed to vote. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think, like we need immigration reform that includes pathway to citizenship, like of course, but like
But
I
you have to actually be a citizen.
yeah, you need to be a citizen to vote. I just think Prop 16 is like a dangerous. I mean, I don't trust the state government on this one. And then 17, um, again, like I don't bemoan like a lot of I mean, quite frankly, a lot of the Hispanic, you know, property owners, a lot of them, farmers or an energy industry or what have you, that feel like they are dealing with, broken immigration enforcement. They want to enact stuff. I just don't think it's worth giving them a property tax exemption at
Well,
all.
also,
Like,
this one's totally fake.
yeah,
This one's
that's
absolutely fake
that's a good point.
because what happens when people try to build border security infrastructure, which, by the way, border
Yeah,
security as a phrase is just another thing that can be shortened to BS.
yeah,
It's not a thing. I spend so much time on the border. Like for a Dallas dude, I spend a lot of time on the
time.
border.
Yeah,
And if you think the border's dangerous,
it's not. Yeah,
you need to fucking go there. Like
yeah,
shut the fuck up. You are buying lies.
yeah.
So
And the private construction stuff, like it's is generally very ineffective, right?
all of it's ineffective.
Yeah.
All I mean, I was in El Paso this last weekend and I saw their best attempt at a serious border wall.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it wouldn't take a half-bright high schooler a day to defeat the fucking thing. It's really, really stupid. But
Yeah.
this is why this one's especially stupid. Nobody just lets border security infrastructure exist on their property.
Yeah.
This won't affect one piece of property in Texas because everybody demands that if you're going to build some kind of bullshit on my property, you buy it. You fucking buy it.
Yeah.
And so and you should. Like honestly, what the Fifth Amendment of the US Constitution says. Um,
Well, I thought this constitutional amendment from the state is essentially giving not homesteaders, but the property owners themselves to fund the construction themselves and get a property tax exemption based on what they spend. So it's not like the government
yeah, but it doesn't
building it.
happen, is what I'm saying.
Well, yes. I like so I mean we're both voting against it, but like but this constitutional amendment is like it's rewarding people that don't exist to solve a problem
That doesn't
that
really exist.
all yeah, and again not saying that like we need better border enforcement in general. I mean, I think that's like more border agents and more port of entries and things like that. But yeah, this one's just dumb, like red meat to like tell suburban, like tell people that live in Keller we're doing something about the border.
If you add up all of the um, Customs and Border Protection officers, all of the ICE officers, and then all of the state and local
Yeah,
law enforcement that is tasked, not just Dallas cops. I'm not saying that.
yeah,
Specifically tasked with border enforcement, some kind of
yeah,
border enforcement, whatever you think that means. You could literally staff the entire border with one agent every 200 yards from Brownsville to San Diego,
yeah,
3 shifts a day with vacations. We have that many people doing it.
yeah.
We could just literally build a human wall.
It's like the We Are the World.
Yes,
Yeah.
hands
Okay.
across America.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. This is like a small bucket of just like things that are dumb. So it's Prop 12, which changes the composition of the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, basically giving Abbott more power. So that's why this one is bad.
Yeah, this
And
one is not stupid. This one is really fucking dangerous.
yeah. And
The
then,
State
okay.
Judicial Conduct Commission is already not as aggressive as it ought to be.
Hmm.
The local story of Amber Givens is a good example.
Yeah.
They write her nasty letters when she breaks the law.
Yeah.
and they already don't do enough. And what he is proposing to do is turn it into an overtly partisan group
Yeah.
so that judges could be punished for ideological reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Prop 15 is like the parental rights amendment, which like obviously parents deserve rights. But this is clearly an attempt to like empower the like wackadoo parents to like fuck over like everyone else.
This one is a wild one
Yeah.
because it is, I would encourage people to actually read the language that they are proposing
Yeah.
to put in the Constitution. It is so broad
Yeah.
that it will create vagueness in more laws than I can count.
Yeah.
This will result in so much litigation. It will be insane.
Yeah.
Schools will not be able to do the things they need to do. Hospitals will not be able to do the things they need to do. This is really, really fucking bad. And I'm very
Yeah.
disappointed in Democrats and the media for not pointing out the nightmare scenarios that could really happen from this constitutional amendment.
Yeah. I agree. And so far, that's I think seven mostly good ones. Not saying you have to vote for all of them, but like seven good-ish ones, seven really atrocious ones, and then I think there's like a middle three that I think are like the most debatable. And with these middle three, to put it in perspective, the like over 80% of the Democratic caucus voted for all three of the ones I'm about to mention, versus for the seven I didn't mention, if Democrats were 100% of the legislature, and like the seven that we just trashed would not have made the ballot. They were passed with a super they were passed not with a super majority of Democrats. Okay. So the three remaining ones, there's props 5 and 9, which establish property tax exemptions on more commercial type things. So 5 is animal feed held by the owner of property for retail sale, and 9 is exempting up to $125,000 of market value of personal tangible property used for income production from taxes. In my mind, these are two things that like, yes, I like both of these things. I like small businesses. I like animal feed and people, that, make our food. I just, again, I weigh helping those business owners with what it will mean for things like schools. And whereas I think, giving the disabled or giving, people that had their homes destroyed by a fire a homestead property tax exemption is worth it, I don't view these two things as worth it.
It's interesting because these are a type of property tax that we don't talk about very often. It's
Yeah.
the business property tax that I think
Hmm.
they abbreviated BPP, and I can't remember
Hmm.
what the second P is for. It might be
Yeah.
personal. And it's not a high tax
No.
anywhere that I'm aware of, so it's a little bit weird. Um, I think I have a really a, an unclear opinion of people involved in agriculture.
Hmm.
Um, First of all, I don't think there are that many of them.
Hmm.
I think most agriculture has become consolidated into agribusiness companies. So I think that five is really it's just a straight up tax break for Monsanto, you know?
It's
Um,
possible.
yeah, I don't know why that's important. I mean, I have farmers and ranchers in my family,
Hmm.
and none of them have been calling for this.
Yeah.
So I don't totally understand that. I feel like there's probably a small coalition of Republican lawmakers, maybe a couple of Democrats in there, who have a large amount of animal feed that they are holding for sale.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a
It's
tax,
possible. And
maybe
so
it's a,
like
yeah, maybe it's a
I
tax
think
break for
so
feed stores.
obviously like you yeah, and I think that's a big component. I think that's what this is like aimed towards. That's how I've taken this one is like feed stores. Um and so like I view these two as two that like obviously like you and I are voting against. But like if the two of them pass, like it's gonna be fine. Unlike the other seven we just trashed, which are actually like bad, like bad
Really
bad.
bad. Yeah.
Like props 5 and 9, the world will go on. Everything will be fine. I just don't think we need to
Yes.
do it. And then the one I'm most conflicted on is prop 3, which 88% of the Democratic caucus voted for. And John Creusot, who is our great Dallas DA, actually went down to Austin to testify in favor of what became prop 3, just to give like some more color on this. At the same time, like my biggest issue is I don't trust the state in a lot of cases. So 3 is a bail reform, one that requires judges to deny bail for individuals accused of certain violent or sexual offenses, punishable as a felony if there is clear and convincing evidence that the accused will not reappear in court or is a danger to the community. I think a lot of people that like are in this space are generally supportive of this one. Again, like received a lot of like bipartisan, including like credible Democrats in favor of this. And I think it like goes to the notion that like we have seen a lot of evidence recently that there needs to be significant bail reform in this country. Like bail is mostly based around the financial means of the accused rather than like anything else, especially in a place like Texas, and moving towards a bail system that is more about the the crimes that the accused is accused of, as well as the individual risk factors of the accused. Like, are they a past offender? Are they a flight risk? All that kind of stuff. And a way towards financial means bail, I think is a good thing. And I think most people would agree with that. I think my biggest issue with Prop 3, and it's why it's the one that I'm still like truly undecided on, is that we're moving towards a bail system that is not punishing, but is appropriate towards the people that need to be held accountable without actually then doing the due diligence and helping the people that, quite frankly, should not be locked up in jail as they await trial,
Yeah.
which
So
feels
this
like a very Texas thing to
this
happen,
one
but
is
like,
aimed at the first thing you said of, hey, there are people who should not be out on bail.
exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't do
Hmm.
anything to help the cash bail system.
Exactly.
This does nothing
Yep.
to
I know.
keep
Yeah.
people make bail when they should be able to, which by
Yeah.
the way, this is in the US fucking Constitution.
Yep.
This is why we revolted against King George, is because they were denying bail.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I don't
It
understand how
is.
people don't know what country they live in. And people are lecturing me about their for the Constitution.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'm an actual student of the Constitution. I got a goddamn degree.
Yeah.
Fuck you, 1776 tattoo having asshole. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The rule that they're proposing here is already the rule.
Yeah.
Judges are empowered to deny you bail if you are a continued danger to the community or a flight risk. They already That's already the goddamn rule. So what are we doing here? We're going to
Well,
change the Commission on Judicial Conduct to be ideological, so that if you fail to deny bail to somebody who is constitutionally entitled to bail,
yeah.
we're going to fucking take you off the bench. That's where this is headed. So this isn't oh, I don't know. This is fuck no.
Okay,
Absolutely
you're
fuck
a fuck
no.
no on 3.
This
Do
is
you know
a
why Crusoe was like so in favor of this then? Because like, I mean, the guy has been like very good on
don't get
issues
it.
like this.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, I have a theory,
okay,
but this is speculation.
okay.
And John's a friend, so
Yeah,
he is more than welcome to come on here and straighten our sorry asses out.
yeah,
In fact, we should probably ask him.
okay.
But sorry, this one winds me up because people just don't even understand. They claim they love the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and they've never fucking read it. And so if I had to guess,
Yeah.
I would say that John's experience with Dallas County's criminal judges
Hmm.
is incredibly negative.
Okay.
And I would, just as an observer, not his friend, just as an
Hmm.
observer, I would say he's right and they're fucking wrong. And so I think
Okay.
he doesn't trust judges,
Yeah.
which is fair.
Hmm.
But we elect them, you know?
Yeah.
That's the system.
Yeah. But should we elect them? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is prop three is the one like I truly am undecided. I need to figure it out in the next like 24 hours.
Please vote
Uh,
against it, David.
okay. I'll give it consideration.
Judges already have full discretion to do exactly what Prop 3
I know.
is saying it's requiring them to do.
Yeah.
And then how is that going to be graded? Who's going to grade that paper? Well,
I don't know.
it's the State Judicial Conduct Commission.
Yeah. Which it's probably about to go to shit.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine. I mean, the moral of the story is we just blabbered on about all this. People can disagree, it's fine, but people should go vote because they want to go destroy the Constitution even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, yeah.
Okay.
All of that. Like
Okay.
maybe maybe what we need to be doing is accelerationist
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
Let's trash the state so hard that even Republicans won't want to play with it anymore.
That's funny. God. Okay. What do you want to talk next? Do you want to
Well, we
talk
got to do at least a little bit of local stuff because we kind
yeah,
of
that's fair.
we got down a rabbit hole last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Do you want to talk Dart or did we
God,
talk
there's so
ice?
much. Dart City Hall,
Yeah.
Mavs versus Stars.
Stars. Yeah. All right,
I
let's
incidentally tune in. I believe I will be on the Dumb Zone, a popular
okay.
sports podcast later today, talking
Nice.
about the Mavs versus Stars,
Okay.
which, unsurprising to anybody who's dealt with the city of Dallas, has a significant component of the city of Dallas's employees being absolutely incompetent.
Okay, let's not talk about that one if we run out of time because you're already going to talk about that one. Do you want to talk Dart? Because I don't think anyone else is
Yeah.
going to talk Dart. Um,
Congratulations to friend of the show,
Randall.
Randall Bryant, the
Yeah.
new chair of
Chair.
the board of Dart.
Yeah. And as he was being sworn in as the leader of Dart, the supreme chancellor of Dart, Plano, Farmers Branch, and Highland Park saw that and were like, Randall sucks. Let's get out of here. No, but I mean it's atrocious. I mean, like, so Plano City Council is probably going to be voting in early November to potentially pull out a Dart. Like they have to ask the voters for approval, but it'll be the first pull-out election in Dart since what the sorry, like
What's your
since like
prediction for how the voters of Plano are going to treat that?
I don't know.
I don't
It's
either.
sorry, I got a cough fit. Trying to I could really see it go either way. People like public transit in general as like a theoretical exercise. I think Dart might have a poor reputation in Plano as like ineffective. Granted, that is because their leaders have made it ineffective, um, more so than anything Dart has done. Um, I do, find this a completely ridiculous exercise that this is happening within a week of the Silver Line opening, which was quite frankly like not the best investment of money for the system as a whole, but Plano and some of those northern suburbs demanded it. Thinking that they deserved like an more equitable share of rail type investments, and now they want to pull out, a week after completion. Um, so I could genuinely see it go either way.
That's kind of how I see it too. I don't
Yeah,
know what they'll do with it. Um, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of Randall's.
yeah,
I think he's doing a great job for us there. He's going to be a leader that's going to be hanging around. This is not the
yeah.
highest office he's ever going to hold.
Hmm.
But I, I don't know. I mean, Dart is an interesting phenomenon. I know the people who were there at the beginning,
Hmm.
you know? And I like some of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but I like
Yeah.
some of them. And Dart's a fucking mistake, don't you think?
In some ways, yeah. I think it probably should not have been so suburban in nature.
It's one of
Um,
those things, though, that now that we've made the initial mistake,
it's hard to get out of.
pulling it apart is sort of a worse mistake.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is going to be a theme because this is how I feel about City Hall also.
Yeah.
Um, Does it suck? Yes, in some ways it sucks.
Hmm.
Tearing it down, the dumbest possible solution to the problem. So, and I think that's the true of Dart also. I think especially in the 80s and 90s, communities became, and earlier than that, because I think BART might be the first example of this,
Hmm.
communities became obsessed with light rail as
Yeah.
a public transportation solution, when in fact it's a terrible public transportation solution.
Yeah.
But it is very palatable to white people. It is segregation in transportation. Trains for white people, buses for black people, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, the best transit systems, public transit systems, yeah, they can have light rail components or subway components where there is an enormous density. But
Hmm.
for Midwestern cities in the United States, the answer is bus. The answer has
Yeah.
always been bus. It will continue to be bus.
Yeah.
And you can add bus rapid transit, which simulates rail,
Yeah.
both in efficiency and honestly, it's so much more flexible, you know?
It is.
So we're trying to a lot of in a lot of ways, light rail is trying to create a permanent solution for a fluid population. So the
Hmm.
population is going to fuck this up. And the
Yeah.
idea was you build these rail lines and these hubs around the rail lines, and then the population will flock to the rail.
Yeah.
And it hasn't
Just
happened
never
for
really happened.
well, and for a number of reasons, part of which is Dart.
Yeah.
Dart has devoted no energy whatsoever to um, transit-oriented development. It's just barely started to do so, and it's still like, I mean, it's just we've gotten none of the promise that Walt Human made back in the 80s
Yeah.
about how this was going to tie the region together and create a truly um, uh, accessible region for the people in the region.
Yeah.
I don't think it has worked. I don't know why the suburbs really give a shit,
Hmm.
you know? Um,
I
and so
mean,
you can
they want their penny back, right?
they
That's
want their
what,
penny back.
yeah.
And so you can criticize the initial decision, but I just think that that pulling it apart now is really the dumbest solution
Yeah.
because particularly in Plano, that's why I think that one's the most interesting. They just got a rail link to DFW,
Yeah.
um, which is extremely nice. I argued against that line for years and years and years and years, and I lost.
Hmm.
Having lost, I can now notice that the line has some good aspects to it. It's going to have low ridership initially, but that might not be the future of the Silver Line. It might have
Hmm.
great ridership. I noticed that I can almost walk to the Richardson station from my office.
Mm.
Well, guess what? I might wind up being a goddamn Silver Line commuter. I never would have
Oh no.
anticipated that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I don't think I think you have to make this is an interesting philosophical discussion, which we don't need to have fully here today. There are ideologically pure positions where we can say, look, the what really should have happened with Dart is that they should have been separate. Everybody should have invested in buses because it's
Hmm.
better for people, and it works better. But having already fucked that up, now the right thing to do is make Dart work as well as it can. And that involves robust investment in the rail and robust investment in the buses and
Yeah.
robust investment in streetcar and
Yeah. The
other forms of
streetcar part
transportation.
is I think like going to be a very important future, whether the suburbs pull out or not. you
Yeah.
know?
And there's a future where Dallas has a very highly functioning public transportation system without the suburbs. So
Yeah,
this is really, honestly, this is the suburbs cutting off their nose to spite their face.
yeah,
Plano, more than any other suburb, is starting to become a real city.
yeah,
And with with a real city, you get real city problems, and they have them. They've got
yeah,
homelessness.
yeah,
They've got unaffordable housing. They've got an increasing proportion of their population that is in poverty. They
yeah,
have the things that we all need to work on as cities in greater proportion than Frisco, for instance.
yeah,
Frisco's a bad example; they're not in the system, but you get the point. There is a reason for Plano to be invested in public transportation of some variety. And truthfully, the Plano City Council
hmm
is not talking about they got a bad deal at DART. What they're really talking about is we don't give a shit about public transportation.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. I also wonder if the other suburbs will let Plano go first and see how it goes. Um, type of thing. The other
That would
aspect
be
I don't think
foolish, right? Like
a
if
lot
you're
of
going to
people,
do it, you should all go at once so that you have the maximum amount of media leverage, right?
I think Plano's such,
This is why we don't want staggered elections for boards and shit. Because having
yeah,
everybody go at once generates more um, discussion and more public interest in going to vote.
trying to think through like the pros and cons of it. I mean, if if you don't want to like screw it up and you want to hedge your bets, letting Plano go alone first could make sense.
But
And
if it's
see
the
how the
difference
people
between
respond.
having Monty Bennett pay for ads and not, then you'd rather have Monty Bennett paying for ads, right?
Yes, but I don't believe that that would not happen if there was a second round, if there's a
Okay,
second Exodus, you know? The other thing to consider with this too is that I think everyone but the Park Cities owe Dart a lot of money. And so
correct.
like even if the voters decide to pull out, Plano is not going to get its penny back for a decade plus.
Yeah, much more than a decade. It's over 20 years,
Yeah.
I think.
So I don't like that is that is probably going to be one of like the bigger arguments against pulling out of essentially like Plano required Dart to do all these investments. Now the city leaders are promising you, you know, the money back, but guess what? You're gonna pay for Dart and you're not gonna get to use it. Um, like that I mean it needs to be tested, but like that could be the beginnings of it. The park cities are interesting in that like my understanding is like the park cities could vote and just pull out and they get their penny back basically immediately. Is that your
Uh,
understanding?
no, and maybe I need to be smarter than I am. I have always been told that all of the member cities are all on the hook for the capex, for the infrastructure,
Oh,
for the borrowing. They've all got to pay back the debt.
okay. Okay. I wasn't clear on that because I mean some of Plano's debt is Silver Line related. Um,
Well, again, I
yeah.
please write in to tell us we're fucking idiots. But my
Yeah.
understanding is that everybody is in pro rata on all the debt.
Mm, okay. Okay. I could be wrong. It could be that what I had heard was essentially like it would be easier for Dart to let the Park Cities go. So
I'm
if
going
there
to do more
was,
research before I
yeah,
become just absolutely stupid.
yeah, no, that's fair. And obviously, like I don't want the Park Cities to go, but like at the end of the day, like the Park Cities going is not going to have like the same impact as like Farmers Branch going.
The previous CEO of DART, very nice gentleman, had DART draw up a streetcar plan.
Hmm.
And the Dallas part of it is brilliant. It
Yeah.
extends the McKinney Avenue trolley up around Javier's and then
Hmm.
back down Cole, creating a bigger loop that like loops in really all of the hottest real estate market in Dallas,
Yeah.
and then connects to the Oak Cliff line through
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah, it's smart.
And by the way, I was shocked at how affordable that is.
Hmm.
That's like less than $200 million.
Yeah.
Um, and creates a really usable system. And McKinney Avenue Trolley, those are quaint because they're old, but they carry 600,000 people a year. It's
Yeah.
like it's
They were
actually
used. Yeah.
used.
Yeah. We've been on them this year.
Yeah. Oak Cliff line is used also. And once
Yeah.
those two connect, that will exponentially increase the use.
Yeah.
So, but he had a plan drawn up that included a streetcar loop through the Park Cities. And he told me they had been to present it.
Hmm.
And he didn't really describe the reaction he got, but I would have loved to have seen it.
Yeah. That's fair. Oh my God. Okay. But yeah, I mean,
You want to tear
basically,
down City Hall?
well, they can build a streetcar there.
uh, there is a Save Our City Hall rally next week.
Yeah.
Please show up if this is something that is important to you. This is again a situation in which my mind is cloudy
Hmm.
because I think that every architect uh, creates, and all people actually create work on a spectrum.
Hmm.
They have their best work and their worst work, right?
Yeah. We
Doesn't
talked
matter.
about this last time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this is IMP's worst building. But tearing it down,
Yeah.
like, and the lying is what's getting me about this. The staff one week said 150 million, the next week said 350 million. So they're just full of shit, that they're
Yeah.
just
Just
trying to
throwing
get
out
to an
numbers.
outcome.
Yeah.
And it just, okay, let's say City Hall should be somewhere else. Let's say
Hmm.
I'm right that the building sucks and City Hall should be somewhere else. Shouldn't we just repurpose the building for what we need, like affordable housing and daycare? Like, how does it make sense to tear the fucking thing down?
Well, I mean, it goes back to the Mav Stars issue. Like that's what this is, right?
uh,
Because
I don't know.
God forbid an NBA team and NHL team share an arena that is working perfectly for everyone for their purpose of, you know, making money off of sports entertainment.
Well, David, surely you want to correct the serious problem that they lost a bunch of money last year, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No, I mean, it's this whole thing is just it's watching a bunch of like rich assholes just completely fuck up everything, and there's like nothing you can do about it, and it's just like
It's
incredibly frustrating.
it's very I guess it has been clear to a lot of observers over the years that most governments around the world, and the United States government in particular, exist to serve rich people. But man, it's stark right now, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean it's because like the Adelsons are just uniquely bad. I think, like even worse than
I
most.
think honestly, I've been reading the pleadings,
Uh-huh.
and obviously this is from the Mavs side, so
Yeah.
it has a bias.
Yeah.
But Tom Gallardi might be a horrible person. He's
Yeah.
certainly a liar. He's
Yeah.
definitely been caught in lies.
Yeah. Yeah. The Stars, I think, have been looking a lot worse in the past like few days, given like everything that has come out.
And we'll see
Yeah.
what they file. I mean, you really have to take legal pleadings with a grain of salt
Yeah.
and know who they're coming from. But the reaction of the Star spokesperson
Hmm.
to that filing,
Yeah.
I'm interested in who's advising him. And as a lawyer,
Um,
uh, I'm quick to apologize for the lawyers because it's always impossible to tell whether someone has gotten bad advice or ignored good advice.
yeah,
And I don't know which it is with that guy, but whatever the stars said to the morning news
yeah,
was mostly incomprehensible and not serving their purpose at all.
yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah, I'm very curious where all this lands. It's like not really rooting for either the Stars or the Mavericks right now. And I mean, the obvious solution here that would benefit the city, the region, both teams, if they weren't so fucking greedy, is just fleece the money from the city to do a bunch of renovations to AAC. They both stay in AAC through, the 2060s, like they were talking about a few years ago. And you make a boatload of money off of sports entertainment and you call it a day, you know? But it seems like everyone is getting really fucking greedy and it's going to hurt the franchises, it's going to hurt the city, it's going to hurt the region. Because I mean, like, I know it's like a big shiny item, but like I don't think Plano will be happy having an NHL arena at the shops at Willow Bend and what that means for Plano as it is simultaneous. It's, to your point earlier, like it doesn't know whether it wants to be a city or a suburb. Um, and I don't think a lot of its residents want to be a big boy city.
The other thing that so the drum beat that both teams are marching to is that they need retail surrounding the venue to make money off the retail.
Yeah.
And
More money. Just to be clear, more money, not to be profitable,
but to
not to
make more money.
make more money. They need 365-day
Yeah, through
income
365.
as
Yeah.
if they don't already make income 365 days a year.
Well, and also like you're a human being.
Yeah.
If you could make the money you make in 75 days instead of 365, don't you like that better?
Yeah. No, it's so fucking
I don't
stupid.
I don't know why enough is never enough. But the other thing I would caution everybody to look at is look around the country at venues that have team-owned retail near
Mhm.
it. Does it work?
Yeah.
It doesn't work 100% of the time.
No.
I mean, there's retail over in Victory. It's
Yeah.
not team owned, which is what they're bitching about, but it also doesn't make any money for the fucking pros. It's been a
Mhm.
disaster.
Yeah. I mean, in some of, yeah, that aspect, yes. But at the same time, like Victory is pulling in receipts that like were that like outpace like basically the rest of the region, you know?
Well, yes, and the successful part of the parts of Victory that have become successful are largely rental,
Yeah.
residential, and office.
Yeah. And
And
restaurant fast casual.
are the Adelsons going to go into the office game? I don't fucking think
I don't
so.
think so.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so.
No,
So I
I think what they want is casino plus arena, and the
yeah.
arena is being used just for NBA, you know?
Well, and Sheldon Adelson spent at least as much money as Miriam has on the Texas legislature
Yeah, which
and
they're
got,
actively doing because there's a special election in Tarrant right now, and she's the biggest donor for one of the Republican candidates.
yeah,
It's her on one side and Tim Dunn on the other side.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Can they both lose? Um,
There is technically a Democrat running, but it is Tarrant County, so you know.
my point is that casino gambling is not coming.
Yeah.
The advocates for casino gambling act like it's inevitable, that it's
Hmm.
absolutely coming. It's not coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been following the sports gambling debate.
It's bad.
It's very bad. And
Yeah.
sports gambling is bad for people. It's bad business. It's
Yeah.
run by the fucking mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all bad. And pretending that it isn't because you are personally able to bet 500 bucks a month and win it or lose it and it doesn't affect your life, great.
Yeah.
That's not how gambling businesses make money. They make money off sick people.
Yeah. The other thing, this is like, I wish, and like obviously it's not going to happen, is there is like the most successful like sports like this are the dual ownership like NBA, NHL, so like you just saw it with Salt Lake City, obviously like Manhattan is like probably the most famous example. And they're not all dual owned, but like the ones that are dual owned like have this harmony and like it would be nice if some, rich a-hole were to basically swoop in and say, like, you're not getting casino gambling, sell me the Mavs. The Stars aren't going to sell, like, under any circumstance, because, like, how do you say his last name again? Tom
Gilardi.
Gilardi. Gilardi's, like, lifelong dream has been to own an NHL team. So, like, he's not going to sell. But, like, theoretically, if, like,
What if he moved it back to Canada?
I don't think the Canadian teams would approve that. Truly, I don't. Because I mean, that's another great example of like, I don't know where you would even put the team because like they have like, seven teams already, right? They're pretty
hmm
saturated, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Where
I
were
mean,
they before? Minnesota? What if he goes to
yeah,
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis already has a team back. I mean, Dallas is a great market for NHL. It truly is. Like, it was a risk at the time, but like it's worked out very well for them.
Yeah, and youth hockey is going
Yeah.
fast and furious and
Yeah, but
and
it seems like they want to make the same mistake that FC Dallas made. Of FC
yeah.
Dallas saw like, oh, look at all these, youth soccer leagues up in Collin County and Denton County. Let's go put a soccer stadium up in Frisco, and nobody fucking goes at
Yeah.
all. Like FC Dallas has consistently some of the lowest attendance in all of the MLS because they bet on suburban soccer families instead of like urban douchebags that watch Premier League. And it turns out the second one was like the better option. Like Austin is like reaping the benefits of that right now, and other
And
cities are as well.
and it was very predictable because it's very easy for teams to see how much of their revenue is related to corporate season tickets.
Yeah,
And corporate season tickets are never going to
everything.
Frisco.
No, they're not. And there's obviously there's some of it in Plano, but like that is, I mean, we talked about this last show, but like that is why it's corporate ticket sales that I think is the reason why like it would be a huge mistake for the region, for the Stars or the Mavs to leave like generally like the uptown or greater central Dallas region, it just like doesn't make a lot of sense for them because again, like yeah, the youth hockey up in Collin County is blowing up, but you're not gonna get families with fucking 7-year-olds to go to a hockey game that starts at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Who you're gonna get is like finance bros and female lawyers and people like that looking to like blow off some steam and they, have the lifestyle that either they don't have kids or they're so fucking wealthy they can just hire a babysitter for the night, you know? And they're already in uptown slash downtown anyway for their jobs, and like, they'll just drive home to, Plano or wherever like afterwards.
Well,
Do you want to shit
let's
on Michelin or?
yes, a little bit. Do you mind?
Sure. My
Um,
it was very much like I did my homework last year. Can I just turn in the same assignment, like the exact same answers again?
100%. And
Yeah, it was so lazy.
because we don't really know who the reviewers are,
Yeah, yeah.
there's no way to prove that they even went back to try them again.
I can't imagine they did because like you even like the best example is Georgie, which like a
hmm
year ago Georgie was like top 5 restaurant in the city. Obviously had like a huge chef blow up and like credit to the leadership group that they put, quite frank. I mean, they put their business first, but like they put the business and their employees first against like an amazing chef, but an abusive chef, canned him. And like I have not been to Georgie since that whole blow up, but like I can't believe it's as good as it was like a year ago.
I need to go and try it
Yeah.
because it's very interesting. You know, if we're positing that somebody can be a really good chef despite being a horrible person, obviously we've seen many examples of that.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally.
If you make a
But they
decision,
lost the chef. They lost the
yeah.
chef. Like, yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you make that decision and you decide to demand that people be a good human being in
Yeah.
addition to being a good chef, which doesn't seem unreasonable to me,
Yeah.
um, are you necessarily sacrificing quality? I don't know. I don't think Dean Fearing sucks. I think people like working for him, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, yeah, no, yeah, I would agree with that. I sorry, my Georgie example was just like the idea that like Georgie is equally good today as it was like at the
I
last
think that's a
Michelin
good
guide.
point.
You know, I find I find it very much, and given that like everything else stayed the same other than like two additions.
Well, I just I think all this stuff is wildly I just I don't really understand what Michelin is doing, and
Yeah.
I've
They're
been
just taking a paycheck like that because we're paying them for the honor for them not to care
except you're you're going to eat someplace. Why not just like sort of be right about it, you know?
because they're
Um,
pretentious assholes.
well, there are ways to bait them with pretentiousness, and it's why I am predicting that Mamani, which got
Hmm.
its star last
Yeah.
night or night
Yeah.
before last, I was there when they found out.
Oh,
Melissa
were
took,
you?
so this is a hilarious. Melissa decided at 3 p.m. that she was taking me out for my birthday.
Yeah.
And I said, well, maybe let's try Mamani. And she was able to easily get a reservation for 7:15
For same
that,
night.
that day, same
That's
night.
funny. Yeah.
And the D Magazine reported yesterday that from the time they found out, which was approximately 8 p.m.,
Yeah.
through that morning when they published, they'd had like 1,000 reservation inquiries.
Uh, that's
So
funny.
Mish,
That's why people care. Like
this is
that's why
why
they
we're
care.
arguing about it because it's really important. And
Yeah.
it has an open kitchen that I was sitting next to, and
Yeah.
those people were jubilant,
Yeah.
and the most common expression we heard was no fucking way. They were
Yeah.
so excited.
Okay, let me ask you this. I'm sure it's an amazing restaurant. Do you think it's one of the two best restaurants in the entire region?
Yes.
Okay. Even though it's like
Um,
only 2 months
and
old.
yes. And
Okay.
so my prediction is also because they're doing all of the Michelin bait there. The
Okay.
service is hyper formal.
Yeah.
I honestly, the only note I have on that is they actually should spend more money on the uniforms.
Okay.
They're perfectly nice, but like having a name designer for the
Yeah.
uniform is Michelin bait, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're doing that. They're doing
Versus like a Lucia here in Oak Cliff, I
too
would
casual.
argue it's too casual. Like basically like Lucia is the type of place that could like I genuinely believe and hope it will win like a James Beard eventually. Like it's been in the
It
finals.
should.
But
It,
like
it,
it's like a
it
James Beard restaurant. It's not a Michelin restaurant.
it 100% should have a Michelin star. That okay. So the list of places that should have a Michelin star in the city
Yeah.
of Dallas.
Yeah.
Momani deserves it, and my prediction is next year it'll get a second one
Okay.
because I've because of my job I've just been privileged to eat at a lot of these places around
Yeah.
the world, and you just
Yeah.
get a feel for which one is a one, which one's a two,
Yeah.
and Mamani is a two-star restaurant,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Um, Teon is probably a two-star fucking restaurant, and the fact that
Yeah.
it doesn't even have one star is a
Is wild.
crime.
Yeah.
Fearings should have a star,
Yeah. I agree with
100%,
that.
because it is the food of Dallas. That
Yeah.
is the only native cuisine of Dallas, is
Yeah.
Southwest cuisine. It was developed here.
Yeah. By Dean
Um,
and Stephen Pyle, right?
exactly, and
Yeah.
it was made famous by Bobby Flay putting it on TV. But I've been
Yeah.
to his joint, and while
But
it's
they're
good,
not
it's
they're
not as
not
good
that
as
great.
Fearings.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think Tatsu
Tatsu's for
deserves it?
sure, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, and probably one of the other sushi joints like Mabo or something.
Yeah.
Um, and what was I thinking of the other day? I think those are the clear ones. And I think in Fort Worth, at a minimum, Don Artemio needs a star. And
Yeah.
Fort
And they
Worth,
don't get any recognition at all. Like
they've
not
just
e-
been shat on. And
yeah.
Panther City Barbecue got some kind of recognition, which no complaint from me. And
Hmm.
finally, they added Goldie's, which was a travesty from last year.
Yeah. They probably
Um,
didn't go last year.
and they added
Mm.
Cadillac, which Cadillac is,
No, Cadillac was on the list last year.
oh, it was
Yeah, because
good.
it was the
I thought
only
they'd been
Dallas
added.
County barbecue place that was on the list.
And so Brian Rein,
Reinhardt at D.
Reinhardt at D um, had a very. I wish he'd actually named names
Hmm.
because he contends that two of the restaurants that have been recognized actually suck.
Yeah, I there were restaurants on and we've talked about this
And
previously.
and I
There are
know
Michelin recognized restaurants that are bad versus there have been James Beard semifinalist in Dallas that I don't think a single James Beard semifinalist in North Texas I would say was bad.
no, I agree with that
Yeah.
fully.
The other
There
part
is
that like
one
pisses
James Beard semifinalist that doesn't exist anymore that was pretty average out in far west Texas that was a geography thing. It had nothing to do with the
oh yeah.
quality of the deal.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But
But
at least of like the North Texas ones, like I've been to most of them, and like every single time, like I've been like, this is very good or even
but
like
the point is it's
exceptional.
more reliable,
It
right?
is because they actually like because James Beard, like you're being nominated by either journalists or other people in food industry, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so people that actually know their cities. Like I think a great example is like my two favorite meals this year, and granted, I have more limited time and everything than you do, but like Lucia, of course, and then like I am a big like revolver taco
Oh,
person.
I left that out, and that's my fault.
Yeah,
It's very good.
yeah.
Um,
Like
yeah,
I
that
went to their weekend brunch this year, and that might be the single best meal I've had like all year.
well, and that pre-fee thing that he does is supposedly amazing, and I still need to go try it.
Same here.
That's
Yeah,
on me, but
yeah.
yeah, I
I'm thinking
didn't
about
mean
doing it for my birthday this year.
nice.
Yeah,
Um, I didn't mean to leave him out. The point I was going to make is they did give some stinkers an award last year that they've kept them this year. And the
yeah,
biggest one in my mind, I know Brian doesn't agree with me because he keeps putting it on his best of list, is Juan on
yeah,
Greenville.
yeah.
Um, it's Vietnamese food for Martians who saw a 1970s travelogue movie about Vietnam. I don't, it has no relationship to Vietnamese food. It's just like, it
Yeah.
sucks. And I don't know. And more than one person has told me I'm wrong about this and I need to go back. So I've been back 3 times at this point, and every time it's the same experience. That food is extremely mediocre. And oh, the other one that should have a star that does not, and it's a 1 star, it's not a 2 star, is
Okay.
Mat Hai Ba.
Oh, yeah, fair. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and but they're like Lucia and they were recognized just like for like the lower level shit, right?
Well, this is the other really weird thing is
Yeah, the
that they
bib gourmet
have
makes no fucking sense.
is bib or recommended. And
Yeah.
they got a bib. And I'm just telling you,
Yeah, it's
the
not
the
yeah.
price limit for a bib, if you spent that at Mount Hai Ba, you're not getting a full meal.
Yeah. Same with like a Lucia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will say like the other thing, I'm not gonna like name names perhaps, but like so I've not been to every Michelin, recommended or bib or whatever in the city, but there's three in Oak Cliff. And I think if you, so like Lucia is one of them, and there's two others. I think if you asked anyone that does not have taste buds that have been burned off permanently from their mouth, if you asked anyone with any credibility, what are the three best restaurants in Oak Cliff,
Lucia.
you would never get those three answers.
Well, you
I
get
think,
Lucia for sure, right?
oh, yeah, yes, but I mean
Yeah.
collectively, you would never get those three.
What are
I
the
think,
three? What are the three best?
I think
You like
Lucia,
Pillar?
Pillars making a move, I think.
I liked it.
Um, yeah, I think Beatrice. Uh,
Oh, okay, good point.
yeah. Yeah, I think those are like if somebody said like those three, I'm not saying they are the definitive three, but like you would look at them very credibly. Um,
Those have
the
credibility with me.
yeah, 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 for sure. And like there's other great ones, but yeah, like the three that like Michelin has like pointed out like are kind of like I've talked to other people here locally that like have seen it like and it's viewed as like a joke list essentially.
Well, and in Dallas and particularly Fort Worth, obviously the main travesty is that we've been snubbed,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
And in Austin, it's the opposite. They've been wildly overrated. Of the
Yeah.
of the major cities in Texas, Austin has the worst food.
Yeah. Houston has the
Um,
best food as much as it pains me to admit it, but it's
it
true.
does,
Yeah.
and we're second,
Yeah.
but San Antonio's third ahead of Austin.
Hmm.
And so, uh, and just the like, of course, people are going to have wildly different opinions about barbecue, but the picks that they made for barbecue, it's just it doesn't have any relationship to what Texans think of as barbecue, which
Yeah.
is it's a very regional food, so it's that plays into it more than for other types of cuisine.
Yeah.
Truly French preparation stuff, classic recipes, doesn't really matter where they're from. That's not an
Yeah.
issue
Yeah.
of what do people in Cincinnati think about this kind of food. We don't give a shit. We have a worldwide sample to choose from. But when you're
Yeah.
talking about Texas barbecue, what Texans think about that barbecue is in fact the most important factor. We are
Yeah.
defining it.
Yeah.
And so that is something that they didn't understand and apparently don't understand. The one of the
They don't want to
only
understand either.
right.
Yeah.
One of the only starred restaurants that I've eaten at that has been actually disappointing, that I thought
Hmm.
truly didn't deserve a star,
Yeah.
is a place in Stuttgart that is a traditional German food
Mm.
restaurant. And what's clear to me is that they just didn't have any particular interest in German food. They didn't know
Yeah.
enough they didn't learn enough to care.
Yeah. And it's like very obvious they fucking hate Tex-Mex. Like they
Yeah.
fucking hate it. And also like even
And
like the more
Mex-Mex.
Mex. Yeah, even like again like the ones in Fort Worth or Dallas we've talked about are not Tex-Mex by any means. They're more, obviously an Americanized version, but like more traditional.
Well, I mean, Don Artemio is in fact a Mexican restaurant, and
Yeah.
this is
But
the
it
outpost
has
of
to
the
like
Mexican
appeal to
restaurant.
It has to appeal to an American palate, but it is
Sure,
not Tex-Mex by any means. Like it's not covered in cheese and cumin.
sure.
Um but yeah, like Texan Mexican food, let's say. Like they just have no interest in it.
Yeah.
And again, like, we talked about the two that got stars and maybe you do think like those are the two best. In my mind, the thing that like always pisses me off about Michelin
No, the
is
best restaurant in Dallas is Tejon.
okay, but okay,
Maybe Mamani is the best.
right
It's
now.
it's
Okay.
between those two.
Okay, but okay, this what you just said is about to undermine what I'm about to say. But
Oh, sorry.
if you the thing with Michelin though that has always like pissed me off more than anything else is like if you say like Dallas is a two-star city, you're like the response to like anyone that follows any of this is like, oh, they picked the best Japanese restaurant and the best French restaurant in the city and gave them both stars. Because like that's what they fucking do. Like it's like we love French food, we love Japanese
That's
food,
right.
and sometimes the Italians are okay too. And fuck everyone else.
I think the only three-star in the world that doesn't have formal service
Mhm.
is a sushi joint in Tokyo.
Yeah. It's because they fucking love Japanese food. Those French bastards. They do. Like it's like the one thing they put up on the pedestal with themselves. And not to shit on Japanese food because obviously it's great and like there's a but I mean thanks to TN there's like so much great Japanese food in Dallas and thanks to Teach and his crew but yeah like not fucking surprised for a minute that it's like yeah Japanese is recognized for its greatness.
Yeah, and as an overprivileged white dude in his 50s, I must admit that I consider French food and Japanese food to be the pinnacles of human cuisine.
Okay. So you're
I
part of the
I agree with
problem.
them on that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, again, like Tatsu Fearings may be equally great, but Fearings is going to be looked down upon by Michelin and Brian Reinhardt because it is Southwestern cuisine.
Brian
Well, look,
admitted to me
yeah,
that he leaves some people off just to piss people off. And I'm like,
it's got to be
you
Fearings.
understand how fucking stupid that is, right, Brian?
And I'm assuming Tian's under the same like let's go piss people off thing right now because Tian like went from like a top 10 of his list to like not even top 50, right?
Did he drop them?
Yeah, when under the change of ownership, he basically said change of ownership, like I'm not ranking them not because they're not great, but because like I'm afraid like what's going to happen with change
Oh,
of
I did
ownership.
read that. Now I remember
Which
that.
I found that one to be credible enough. Essentially, like this list is supposed to last for like 6+ months, and like it was like right before publication, like there was a change of ownership, and that those are moments where like shit can really just tumble. And so it's like we're not going to put it on the list and we're going to let it play out for 6 months.
Yeah. I actually agree with all that. To give Brian a little bit of credit, I think he does a great job. But
He's the best in the region, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah.
the difficulty in producing lists like that is all of this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just for stuff for people to argue about, and
Yeah.
it by definition it's subjective, you
It
know.
is. Yeah.
And if you're not a person who loves French food, then you're just not gonna get it, you know, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's not a negative in any way. And
Yeah.
but the difficulty with those lists is he always gives recognition to somebody who flames out in 6 weeks and shuts their doors, you know,
Yeah.
because it's a really, really
Tough
volatile
business.
industry.
Yeah.
And so I have some respect for that. It
Yeah.
is you're taking a risk by making a list.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think his is the best in the city/region.
Observer has gotten a lot better recently.
Yeah.
Now they
There
did
are still
produce
there's some still like very questionable stuff on that one, in my opinion,
there is
personally.
some they're big the biggest
But they
the
make a
big
100 list, right?
That's their biggest fail. The thing that
Yeah.
you learn from their list of 100 best bars is there aren't 100 good bars in Dallas.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Oh, but what I have to say it before we lose everyone, the reason we started talking about Michelin is not to judge food necessarily, but it goes back to the fact that the state of Texas and the cities are paying for this. Like we are paying for a bunch of French bastards to come here and tell us we have shitty food.
Well, there's that, and it's a pure like visit
It's
Dallas
tourism. Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce tourism
Yeah.
type thing, and it's not so expensive that it really pisses me off.
Yeah.
It's not like sports,
Yeah.
you know. Sports really pisses me off.
World Cup, we are going to lose a lot of money on.
A lot of money, a lot
Yeah,
of money.
yeah,
So enjoy it, you soccer homos. Um, the but no, this is all you need to know about
yeah,
Michelin. They've never rated New Orleans because nobody in
yeah.
New Orleans is ever going to pay for that.
No,
And if you ask any knowledgeable food person in the country
yeah,
where the best food in America is, number one is New York,
yeah,
number two is New Orleans.
yeah.
It's just
I I did some research on this
nobody is more
beforehand.
focused on this.
Yeah, I did some research on this beforehand. There are actually like quite a few Michelin guides around the country at this point, but the vast majority of them are paid for. The ones that like
Oh yeah,
aren't paid for are New York City, like the California
the
one,
stuff they
and
have to do to maintain credibility, right?
yeah, and I think Chicago is the third one that's pure. And then there's a fourth one that is like a fake one. Not fake necessarily, but it's like I said, I would
Florida.
agree with you. I would agree with you about New Orleans, but like otherwise, like New York City, Bay Area, Chicago, you could make a case that at least amongst like what Michelin would care about, those are the three best. The fourth one that's like kind of fake is Washington, D.C. But if you actually go back to the creation of the DC Michelin Guide, they said to a journalist like off the record that I think then got published or something, or maybe it was on the record and they just don't give a shit, that they created the DC Michelin Guide not because the region deserved it, but because their actual like business lobbyists needed to take regulators and politicians to Michelin recognized restaurants.
That makes so much sense to me.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
Florida got raided and they
yeah,
paid for it.
they paid for it.
And it's a joke.
Atlanta paid for it. I think Denver paid for it. Yeah, everyone's
The
paying for it now.
so when they did California, there's actually, I mean, they do the same thing over and over is the point here. When they did California, they just shat on LA.
Yeah,
Like they gave nothing to LA,
yeah,
and LA has fantastic food,
yeah,
you know? And they've just this last year
yeah.
started to correct it. They moved Providence to three
Hmm.
star. It's the first, I think it's the first West Coast three-star. And they made a bunch of
Okay.
new elevations of places and they've started to kind of correct it. So they eventually figure it out, but yeah, in the overwhelming impression you have to get from the initial experience with them is that they're not trying very hard.
No, yeah. And so I pulled up my research ahead of time. So Texas was the fourth to pay for it. So there's eight total guides in the United States. Four of them, including DC, wink, wink, are like organic, and four of them are paid for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And it's us, Florida, like Colorado and like Atlanta.
Vegas didn't pay?
No, well, so Vegas had one and then it got shut down. And I think that was an organic one that they shut down probably because the food scene has like deteriorated so much there recently, is my guess.
Vegas is in terrible shape, but man,
Yeah.
at the height of that praise,
Yeah.
god damn, the food was good.
Yeah. But they've discontinued the Vegas one. So there were eight active ones in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah. And we pay for the honor to be shit on. Though I mean, like I'm sure everyone that's being recognized at some level is seeing like their business grow and like to your point, it's probably very cheap. Like technically, like it might be a net economic positive. Like it might truly. Oh, I did look it up from the last show. There are academic papers that argue that NBA type teams, even if the city kind of bends over backwards on the construction of the arena, are probably net economic positives for the cities.
I will be happy to review that work.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
For next time, I would be happy to shit on that
Yeah.
supposed academic
Okay.
who's paid by
Great
Visit
paid for
Dallas.
it. Yeah. Yeah. They did say that like the tax revenue for the city is probably a negative, but like if you look at like everything that it does, like it's probably like you're better off doing it than not versus like we just shit on the World Cup and like the World Cup is like you lose money on that. But that's because it's like a 1 month thing that it's like a flash in the pan and like you spend so much money prepping for it, you never recoup it.
Well, there's that aspect of it, but you're also paying FIFA so much money.
Yeah,
And
that too.
I mean, FIFA is the mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, it is organized crime,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like FIA, just like the Olympic Committee,
Yeah.
all of these worldwide sports organizations are just criminals. Anyway,
That's
we've moved
fair.
far afield, so
That's
we'll
fair.
let the
We'll
listener
stop.
rest, and we
Yeah.
will try to get a couple of our. I now have my assignments. I need to go follow up with Zarin, and we
Okay.
probably need to follow up with John Crusoe
Yeah.
to see if we can do some specialty shows on that.
He can dunk on us after it passes because it's
He,
passing.
it's going to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he can tell us exactly why we're wrong.
Okay.
I would like to hear that actually because
Yeah.
I enjoy being right and I'm
Yeah.
frequently not, and so it's a constant process of trying to get right.
Okay. Sounds good. It was good talking to you.
Good to see you.
Okay, bye.